I'm going to take a second to talk to you about underdogs. Dogs.
Welcome to Two Birds, One Pod.
Bill Polian wants to say that he could play wide receiver.
An NFL podcast by one Ravens fan and one Eagles fan.
They doubted us, to all those people that counted us out, and everybody who said that we couldn't get it done.
Congratulations to this year's most valuable player, Lamar Jackson.
Here are your hosts, C. Wood and DK.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, YouTube viewers, listeners, to the Two Birds, One Pod. I'm your co-host, DK. This is formerly the DK Sports Podcast, but with the new season coming about, we decided to create a new podcast. Alongside me on this 2021 season is Flock Seawood, or Seawood as the people know him. He's above me. And Calvin, Seawood, whatever you want to call him. Big time Ravens fan. I think he's an Orioles fan, Sixers fan, unfortunately. But, okay, there you go. Fair enough. Right. Yeah, being a Philly sports fan, it used to be fun, but yeah. Dude, yeah, hopefully. I know they're playing the Dodgers right now. There was a rain delay, but yeah, the Bryce Harper MVP bet at the really opening day was definitely a nice little bet, and hopefully that hits. And then at the All-Star break, I bet on the Phillies to win the NL East, which isn't saying much, but yeah. So we might have some pocket change moving in to the season. What's that? Yeah, that'll happen. But I did hear that he has after a week of surgery, he's on the field, no limp, no pain. So it's still there. But we'll definitely dive into who we like for MVP. I think Jalen Hurts at plus 7,500. You might have to throw a sprinkle. Never know. Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I think Jalen Hurts is going to be really good, but I also feel like people should not get their hopes up that he is going to replicate, Lamar Jackson's success. Not just him, but any, Josh Allen having that exploding year. Like, I feel like people kind of just don't realize that you don't have to be a star right off the bat. Like, people expect success right away, and it's like sometimes it takes time. And
Absolutely.
I feel like if the Eagles need to stick with him. I mean,
You have to give him a fair shot.
Build, like the athletic build that he is, that he can run around, he can sling it. Like, that's the way the NFL is turning. If you kind of look at it, new age quarterbacks, everyone's mobile. You kind of have to be mobile unless you're one of the elite quarterbacks. So like, he's got the skill set.
Yeah.
It's just, do they give him enough time? Like, because look at what happened with Carson Wentz. It just seemed like they kind of just 1 week were like, oh, we're pissed off that he's not playing well. And no, he didn't have a good season, but like the way they went about drafting Jalen Hurts, it's like you kind of set the expectation that Carson Wentz isn't reliable, and I feel like that just screwed up his mental. And then
I think so my biggest, being a Eagles fan, I think the biggest thing that we noticed besides the offensive line, we had I think 14 different offensive line combinations. So like no quarterback's going to be successful with that kind of makeshift offensive line. But when Wentz was benched and Hurts came in, I do think the whole team actually played better. Just the offense was actually moving, and the defense looked motivated to actually get after the quarterback. But I think you have to give him a fair shot, and I mean, if you don't give him the full year to say, hey, I'm a franchise guy, or he very well could be a bust. But like, if you decide to trade for, say, Deshaun Watson or another quarterback, or draft a quarterback next year, then it's like you wasted a second round pick where you could have taken a guy like Jeremy Chin or somebody to help the defense.
Well, also, like, the whole Deshaun Watson thing, I don't understand it. Why, like, these blue check mark reporters are just sitting here saying that the Eagles, have that sort of interest, or they're engaging in it. And it's like, you don't know what's going to happen with him. Like,
right.
Josh Gordon, Justin Blackmon, both, suspended indefinitely for weed, let alone if a man gets convicted of however many, charges that are against him, whatever the case, like how many games is he suspended? Is he suspended indefinitely to where you're giving up your future just to possibly have Deshaun Watson? Like, he's a good quarterback, but you're going to set yourself back, how many, 5 years?
Right.
If you give up all that draft capital, it's like, it just doesn't make sense, because you got to send Jalen Hurts in that trade most likely. You can't have both of them on the same team. Like, Jalen Hurts is not going to want to play for the Eagles if they do the same thing they already did, with Carson Wentz. They turn around and do it to him, where they're like, hey,
exactly.
Sorry, we want a new toy.
And before we kind of get back into really formal introductions of our fanhood and everything like that, just talking about Deshaun Watson, like, yeah, you're going to have to give up Hurts. You're going to have to probably give up another player. And, I mean, we potentially have 3 first-round picks, so that could very well happen. But you have to wait until the, the off-the-field issues, or, the cases and everything that's going on with Deshaun Watson gets settled before you decide to make a move, because the fan base is going to be up in arms. I mean...
Yeah, especially with that kind of baggage. Like, you just don't know. Like,
right.
You have no idea. Looking at the other domestic violence stuff, and not saying, that they're obviously different cases, but, like, look at the outcomes of that. Every player who's gotten, suspected of that kind of thing is cut the next day. So, like, how does it look if you trade for this guy and, he is guilty? Not, he'll get his time. I'm not saying he's guilty or not. I'm just saying if he was.
Just let it play out.
You just don't know. It's just not worth mortgaging the future. I mean, he's good, but
right.
he obviously couldn't carry a bad team. Which if you're trading that much capital for a quarterback, they should be able to get you more than 4 wins and a bunch of garbage yards. 4,000 yards, whatever he had.
He did have from a stats perspective, he had what you would call a good year. But like, the defense was
where they got him.
Yeah, nowhere. It was awful, to be quite honest. So let's kind of bring everything back, kind of talk about your fanhood, how you became a Ravens fan, and if the viewers see on this side, there's a nice little Geno Smith tattoo.
That is my right ass cheek.
There you go. So you got to give us the backstory on the Geno Smith tattoo and how you became a Ravens fan.
So I am from Baltimore, and I just kind of watched football with my dad growing up. He was a Ravens fan, so like obviously I just became one. And yeah, I mean, I've been a fan for probably 20 years now. So behind the Geno Smith tattoo, so obviously 10-23-16, it was the Ravens versus Jets. And at that point in the Jets quarterback carousel, it was Geno Smith starting. I believe they had someone ahead of him and they got hurt. I remember that, like, the reason I made the bet was because I was like, oh, it's Geno Smith. Like, they're not gonna lose to him. So I had started talking shit on Twitter, and all the homies and everybody, they were like, we're gonna hold you to it. And I was like, all right, well, mama didn't raise a bitch, so we'll see what happens. And then, so game's playing, whatever. Gets to halftime. Geno Smith tears his ACL in the game. So I'm like, great. Now, like, my bet's in limbo, because am I supposed to get it still if he, didn't finish the game and they win? Or am I just gonna keep talking shit and say it doesn't matter. I'll get it regardless. So the latter happened, and I was like, there's no chance they're gonna lose. And as you can see by the picture of my right butt cheek, that the Ravens did end up losing that game. Geno Smith threw for like 92 yards, and of course nobody, gave me slack and said, "Oh, he got hurt. You don't have to get it done." Everyone was like, "No, fuck you. You got to get this thing done." So I got his name tattooed on my ass, and it's there forever.
That's awesome.
Still looks the same,
Yeah.
Can't say I'm gonna get it touched up, but yeah. I don't even think he's signed to a team. It's going to get to the point where I got to tell the story every time it comes up. And it's like, at that point, it just looks like I have a man's name tattooed on my ass.
Right.
Like they're going to think,
Who's Gino?
that he's a significant man in my life.
No, I want to say that he signed with the team. I could be wrong.
I feel like the Seahawks re-signed him, but if the Seahawks didn't re-sign him, he's definitely not on another team. Because,
hold on, Geno Smith.
I mean...
Yeah,
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he's on the Seahawks. He's a backup for the Seahawks.
There
you go.
Relevance. And he hasn't even acknowledged the tattoo. I try to tag him in it because honestly, I just want him to acknowledge my ass cheek and, appreciate it. But I think, fan coming at him saying, "Hey, look, I have your name tattooed on my ass." I can see why he probably hasn't answered me yet.
Right.
But, I'm going to keep trying.
I mean, we might as well get him on the show.
Exactly. But, no, you should, so for people that don't know, my friend Dan here, he somehow is just a magnet, with the TV cameras at sporting events.
Especially Philly sporting events.
He got, posted on Sunday Night Football on Instagram of him painted green with, troll hair.
Yeah.
As you can see on the screen, on this official account. So,
right. So
that was dope.
Yeah. So, long story short, my buddy, I guess it's, if you're looking at the picture to the right of me, he's with the Eagles beanie on. That's my best friend from college. And, we decided, Eagles are in a playoffs, like, let's go to a game. So we go down to the Falcons game and, game kickoff was at 4:25, and it's like high of like 28 degrees. So awesome. God. So we're like, what time do you want to get to tailgate? 9 a.m. sounds good. I was like, dude, I'm bringing green paint. I might be feeling good, and I might paint up since we're sitting at the lower level. Hours roll around. It's like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and we're at this big tailgate, and my buddy's telling everyone that, Dan's going to paint himself up, like, full body paint, like, especially as the sun's going down, and 3:30 rolls around, I'm like, all right, F it, who wants to paint me up? So I had, like, 40 people help paint me up in that picture, and, oh, my God. And, that game was, it was definitely interesting. Nick Foles did not have a great game against the Falcons. It was a low-scoring game, but, it was a TV timeout in, what is it? Might have been the 2-minute warning. Camera guy's, scrolling through the crowd. He looks at me, gives me the psycho sign, and I'm just nodding my head yes. And next thing I know, I'm getting text messages, phone calls. Dude, you're on Sunday Night Football on NBC. And that
is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that in itself right there, like, that would be a great story. But to add on top of it, they go out of their way, their social media team goes and posts you on their Instagram.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
That's just, like, adds a whole nother level to this entire story.
And, like, 2 weeks later, I go visit my buddy up in, Northeast PA, and we go out to the bars, and these two girls, they're, like, staring at me, like, staring through my soul from, like, across the bar. I go up to them, they go, "We recognize you." I was like, "From where?" I was like, "Well, you're on Sunday Night Football's Instagram, and you're on the Eagles hype video." So the next week, I was on the Eagles hype video.
Third level, dude. That's a third level.
And yeah, and then pretty much at every Eagles Sixers game, Flyers, and I haven't been to a Phillies game in years since they haven't been relevant until this year. but like I somehow make it on the big screen or on TV. You know, we were talking about the Sixers game earlier where you looked up on the big screen and there I was. So yeah, that's
So I was at a game with my brother-in-law and my sister because his work got tickets. So we're just chilling up in a box. Nothing I ever get to do. Like it's just taking in the night. Sixers are winning, having a good time, and all of a sudden I look up, and here's Dan on the screen going crazy. And I look at my sister, and I'm like, "You don't know who this is, but that's Dan Kiley." And she was like, "Is he a friend?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, we've been boys." And
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What are the odds out of 40,000, whatever, how many people are in that stadium?"
right.
Here's Dan on the screen.
Yep.
Magnet.
Yeah.
Being
So
a nut.
yeah, that's basically and I've been kind of like you with the Ravens. I've been an Eagles fan 26 years now, Philly sports fan. It hasn't been all fun, but I mean, Eagles winning the Super Bowl back in 2018 and then falling apart in less than 3 years is pretty wild, to say the least.
You can't forget about throwing snowballs at Santa Claus too.
Dude, all right, don't even start because apparently he wasn't that great of a Santa Claus. He was drunk and stumbling on the field, so the Philly fans had every right to, and I'll stand by that.
Well, guess what? That drunk Santa Claus is now the face of Philadelphia sports. So whether you like it or not, that's just how it's going to be.
Pretty much. Or, dumping popcorn on, I think it was Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah, man. That was not a good look. I mean, because I'm a Sixers fan.
Right.
I might not be an Eagles fan, but I'm a Sixers fan, so I feel that one, and I'm like, no.
I mean, before we dive into how we think the Ravens and Eagles are going to do this year, are you on the Ben Simmons trade bus, or do you want to keep him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't want anything to do with it. The first summer Ben Simmons 3-point video on Twitter popped up the other day, and I just honestly I had that moment. You're in a relationship, you get the breaking point, you're like, I'm just over it. That's how I am with Ben Simmons. I'm tired of being teased by the 3-point shot videos and like, oh, you throw Rondo in there too. Oh wow, 2 people who can't shoot threes are now making threes. That's great. I'm excited. And then season rolls around, and what does he do?
It's
nothing.
Right. It's legit.
He does great in games. It doesn't matter.
It's my favorite time of the year. The Ben Simmons jump shot videos come out. It's terrible, but
I hate it, dude. I hate it.
Yeah, it's brutal. And so let's talk about this season. Let's talk about the AFC North, and I'll flip to the USA Today Sports projections. As you can see, the Brownies are winning 13 games. What are you?
The Browns win 13 games. I will jump off a bridge, honestly. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with them actually winning 13 games. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I get they had a great year, and really that whole team is, it's their success is. It comes from their running attack with Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which is fine.
And listen, I'll be realistic. Like, I'm obviously a Ravens fan, and
right.
I've grown to hate the Browns a lot. I mean, Steelers fans are at least respectable, and we have history of good games over the years. Fine, I'll banter with you, but I'm not going to hate. The Browns are relevant for the first time in most of these fans' lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they probably weren't even around when Derek Anderson was winning 10 games for them, or
right.
And like I'm not going to shame fans for liking a player and following a team because of it, but don't sit here at like us collective Ravens fans mentions and sit here and tell us about why our team is bad when you either don't know football or you are just trying to troll, and it's just like I don't know, it just gets annoying because. Like, yeah, you have a good team, that's great, but act like you've been here before.
Yeah.
Like, there's still so many uncertainties. Like, there's uncertainties with all the teams in the AFC North, and I'm not going to sit here and say the Ravens are going to be 17-0 and they're perfect, because they're not. They have so many injuries, and we'll get into that. But, I just feel like Browns fans they're overcompensating for their success. We don't know.
Right, and I think
if you be excited without being an asshole.
I don't think you can rely on me personally, like, just from watching them last year and Baker and Kevin Stefanski's offense for the first time, but
Yeah.
if you stop the rushing attack and make Baker Mayfield beat you, you're probably going to win that game, because I don't think he's that type of quarterback that can just go out and throw the ball 50 times. Like, he's a good quarterback on the move, like rolling outside of the pocket, off the play action, where that comes from the run. So, we'll see.
But my thing is, so like, people will sit there and say like, oh, Lamar Jackson, his success that has a lot to do with the run game, which isn't wrong. Like, obviously the run game opens up his game even more. And if you force any quarterback who, he's got a good arm, he's accurate, but to say that his throwing ability is better than his running ability is false. Like, no one thinks that. So
Right.
like, obviously if you're in a situation where you're down 21 points and you got to throw every play, you're taking a part of Lamar Jackson's game out that he relies on. And it doesn't mean that his passing is bad. It just means you took the dimension that makes him dynamic away and you forced him to throw. Same thing with Baker Mayfield and their run game. If you sit there and you take the Browns' run game away and you force Baker to throw the ball 40 times, I mean, yeah, he has an arm. Yeah, he can throw for yards. He's made mistakes. He's gotten better with that. Last year he improved. But any quarterback in that situation that's not Patrick Mahomes is most likely not going to play that well. Because if the defense knows you're going to throw the ball, they can account for it better. Unless, like I said, you're Pat Mahomes, who makes plays out of nothing and finds people that aren't really open, or like Tom Brady, who sees stuff before it even develops. Aaron Rodgers, like, unless you're one of those dudes, if you got to throw the ball 40 times, you're probably not going to win the game.
Yeah, not, and that, so that kind of brings me back. So even with Lamar, and even when the Eagles had Carson Wentz, like, we had so much success in 2017. Wentz had his MVP season before he tore his ACL. When we ran the ball and didn't throw the ball 45, 50 times a game. And I mean, a lot of these coaches, they make it a lot harder than it really needs to be. Run the ball and then open it up with a little play action. Like, mix it up. Don't just.
Well, even in modern NFL, you can even say that, like, passing the ball to set up the run, that's definitely a viable option to run as an offense. But like, I just hate that argument, because like, if you're down by 3 scores and you're gonna have to throw, like, you're just obviously most likely you're going to lose the game, or any situation where you're like, oh, you have to force X quarterback to throw or make them uncomfortable. It's like, usually in those situations they're not in the lead, and usually like most quarterbacks will make similar mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just frustrates me because my quarterback doesn't get any credit for what he's done.
Yeah.
And
so
just his rushing gets held against him, and it's just annoying. Yeah,
because it's not what we're all used to seeing, where it's, oh yeah, let's throw for 4,000, 5,000 yards. Like, he's rushing close to 1,000, or I mean, I don't know his stats offhand, but like, he's a game changer with his legs.
2 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons from a quarterback.
Right.
But like, and I always want to tell people, like, sorry, I'm ranting about this because it's just frustrating. Like,
go for it.
Now, like back in the early 2000s, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, when you threw for 300 something yards a game and you threw for 5,000 yards, it was crazy. Like, you've never seen it before.
Right.
It's a passing league now, and you have Deshaun Watson leading the league almost in passing yards with a losing record. So it's like, why use the passing yards metric to show how good a quarterback is when that doesn't? It's proven that doesn't show like success necessarily. And I feel like people, it's very common to have 4,500, 5,000 yards in a season.
Right.
He's doing something like back when passing yards were crazy. He's doing that now with rushing. And I feel like people just don't respect the fact and like enjoy the fact that he's just a crazy athlete, along with a lot of other quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, like 5'9" and absolutely dynamic. Josh Allen, even he doesn't look like he should be able to run.
No,
like,
but he can run. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
100%.
He's very athletic. And speaking of Josh Allen, he just got the bag. So that, and I want to get your take on this. I know you might be a little biased because you're a Ravens fan, but
I'm 1,000% biased. Don't disrespect me.
So Josh Allen got the bag. The next quarterbacks in line would be Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson. So, which one do you think is going to get the extension first, or which one deserves it? I mean, I know you're going to say Lamar, but
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they both don't deserve it. I don't think Baker Mayfield's bad enough to where the Browns should just up and move on from him.
yeah,
It's just with both of them, it's just a matter of in 3 years, are we going to look back on the contract and say like, oh, that was a good idea? And
right.
I feel like with both of them, one team wins a Super Bowl a year, so I feel like if we do win a Super Bowl, like great, I think either quarterback can do it. With my biased opinion aside, like I think it's possible for both. They're both good teams, but I just think that Lamar is gonna, no matter what Lamar gets, and I think it's gonna be around what Josh Allen got, maybe for shorter years. I don't know. That's more so towards like the whole rushing quarterback's gonna get hurt narrative.
Right.
Like I don't believe that personally, but maybe the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I see, but I hope they don't do that. Now that I'm saying that, because like you don't want to show that you're not confident in your decision to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Baker's going to sign after Lamar, if I'm going to have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like Lamar isn't that worried about the extension. I don't think if the Ravens had to franchise him next year, I don't think he would mind because he loves playing for them.
Yeah.
So I think that he'll wait it out. He's representing himself too, so he's going to take longer than a normal client. Like he doesn't have someone that he's consulting with about, oh, hey, we should ask for this or that. He's consulting with his mother, and he's gotten COVID twice. Not even going into that because that's a whole ball game that I don't want to play right now.
Yeah,
but he's got a lot going on, and I'm sure like you hear it from the front office, you hear it from the coaches. He's gonna get re-signed. There is no world.
There's
I'm
no
gonna
doubt.
go on the record. There's no world either of them are leaving their respective team. Like, it's just a matter of when. And I think it's going to be around the same ballpark. Probably 40 mil for both. I think Lamar could. I think he could jump Josh Allen in all actuality because he has an MVP. He's got the firepower to ask for that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, in short, that's basically my thinking on that.
Gotcha. So my next question is, do you think the Ravens, because the biggest thing was, okay, Lamar won a playoff game last year, right? He finally got the monkey off his back. Do you think they did enough from adding more weapons to that offense? Because they keep saying that they need, a true number one receiver, saying that Hollywood Brown's not that guy.
So I think it's got part to do with Greg Roman's scheme, not because Greg Roman can't scheme a passing game, but more so Greg Roman is very, from my opinion, completely from what I've seen, he's very meticulous with making sure the game plan matches his personnel. And I think he realized he doesn't have a big body receiver other than, Miles Boykin, third round pick. Like, you're not going to make him the focal point of the offense. So, when you have a smaller guy and you're focused around your two tight ends who are both, Nick Boyle could be starting on another, probably more than half the league.
Yeah.
Like more than half the league. And, they like to focus on their strengths because there's no reason why they should focus on their passing to the receivers if their receivers are not a strong group. Right. And them going out and drafting Rashad Bateman, they go out and get Sammy Watkins, who, low level deal, low risk, high reward. Like,
right.
And, they're battling some injuries. We had Devin Duvernay in the third round last year. Who knows what we're going to do with him? It's, we'll probably see him in the backfield. Everybody is interchangeable. And I think that is going to unlock Greg Roman's offense. He's not going to have to say like, we have to match up Hollywood on this side because of this matchup. They all can play the slot.
Yeah.
They all can play outside. And, Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. Aside from some drops in big games,
he helped me win. He helped me win 2 leagues last year in fantasy football. Him, and then I picked up J.K. Dobbins. I think week 6 or week 7, and he turned it on, which was awesome. The Ravens defense. So I did just see the Ravens signed Justin Houston.
Very excited about that.
Yeah. I think that just adds to what's already a great defense. Makes them top 5. I think
underrated group for sure. Like. People were kind of freaking out about losing Judon, which see, I'm not going to call the people fake fans, but if there's fans that have become a fan of the Ravens more recently, they might not know like this is what they do with rushers. They've done it since all the way back in 2006 with Azaleas Thomas. We had Paul Kruger. Like there's just a million of them.
Yeah.
Courtney Upshaw, like Pernell McPhee. We historically draft rushing linebackers well. So they kind of have a factory of sorts where they second, third year they unleash the player. And they kind of just refill the cabinet over, the draft and that kind of thing. So I wasn't that worried, but it was a weak spot because they re-signed Tyus Bowser. Gave him a steal. It was like 3 years, $18 million.
Yeah.
Rather than Judon, he got I don't even know what his contract was, but I know it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's.
And they go trade Orlando Brown. Eric DeCosta is just he's masterful. He traded. Got that second first-round pick, goes and picks Adafe away, and he apparently has been unstoppable in camp. And that either means that Ravens' offensive line is in trouble or he is a beast.
Yeah.
So, like, adding Justin Houston on top of that, and, we still have some Pernell McPhee's back. Patrick Queen, he was all
Patrick
over the
Queen,
field.
dude, I wanted the Eagles to draft him so bad last year.
Yeah, and like this, their secondary too is it's just as good as it was. Jimmy Smith got hurt, which is definitely it's tough. So Taven Young, he's signed an extension. He's been hurt for 2 years, but he's got a lot of potential in the slot. And just as long as we have our two guys, I feel like our defense will be fine. We got two, probably I'd say top 15 cornerbacks. Deshaun Elliott, by the way, for anybody who is not familiar with him, he is the Ravens' free safety, and he is going to explode. And I guarantee you that he's going to land a massive contract after this year. Like, he is one of my players to watch. Just a side note, like their secondary is very, very good. And they still have Calais Campbell. They still have Derek Wolfe. They still have Brandon Williams, and not to mention Justin Matabuke. They drafted him last year. He is apparently looking like a young Brandon Williams in the middle, just wrecking everybody. So I'm excited.
So let me ask you this: how many? So I'm looking at the win totals for the teams. The Ravens. They're at 11. Over under is right at 11. What do you think? I mean, do they win the 11. Division at?
I like 11, maybe 12.
Okay.
They have a tough schedule, and I'm not going to sit here and act like we're going to go 17-0 because that's not realistic. They're going to, as long as they make the playoffs, I have confidence in this team, and we just have to make it through the season. Be healthy going into January. But I think that division, you got top three teams are, oh, I'm Google now. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
it's like.
I feel like even the Bengals, like they could sneak up on the division and do what they did back in the Andy Dalton days, pull out 10 wins. Like it's just 4 teams that are above average to great teams, and I'm not confident that we could go 5-1, 4-2 in the division. So I think 11 wins is pretty realistic. I don't think 13 wins for the Browns is realistic. I don't even want to get into it. I think they're way overhyped. This happens, but I wanna ask you. So, where do you think USA Today was coming from when they gave the Eagles 3 wins? And I'm gonna point to the fact that the Jared Goff-led Lions, who I can't name one receiver on the team, they have the same amount of wins projected. And I don't get it. And also, I have to point out Cardinals at 7-10. I don't think they're going to be that bad. Like, where is DeAndre Hopkins not there anymore? Like, do they?
Yeah, I don't see.
Kyler Murray?
So I don't think. So just looking at the USA Today bullshit record projections. That's what we'll call them. I think a lot of people are hyping up the 49ers. I really do. I think, they were hit hard with injuries last year and they're getting their defense back. But, I mean, who's their quarterback? Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, I don't know how good Jimmy Garoppolo is. to be
Not
honest.
Justin Fields. What's his face?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I mean, I think sooner you don't trade that much and then draft a guy third overall to just let him sit. It's
Right. I think they're hoping for. I mean, they're probably. This was kind of the same thing with the Eagles when they drafted Wentz and they had Sam Bradford as our starter, and then we traded him to Minnesota. They're probably hoping for a situation like that where they could trade Garoppolo for a team that's in desperate need. But
there is no doubt in my mind that's exactly what's going on. I don't know what show it was, but John Lynch went on and was like, "Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo is having the best camp of his life." Blah blah blah. Like, come on, man. We know exactly what you're doing.
yeah,
If you want to trade him, just trade him.
and I don't think the Seahawks are going to be that good. Like let Russ cook, whatever. As soon as they started that, he played like absolute dog crap. I think the Cardinals.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. I do think the Cardinals will be better than 7-10, but going back to the Eagles, like how
Yeah. I want to hear this.
So-
I don't know.
basically the national media, as soon as Nick Sirianni was hired, they clowned him for his first press conference, and he's a very competitive guy, and I'm going to be an optimistic Eagles fan. Typically, like, I think we'll probably split with the Cowboys, we'll split with the Giants. The Washington football team might beat us twice, to be honest. Their defense is elite, I would say. So there's probably 2 wins right there. We play the Jets. I think we beat the Jets. We play the Jared Goff Detroit Lions. There's 4 wins. So USA Today, like, what are we doing? Like, I think Jalen Hurts, like, although he played 4 games, he shows that he can lead a team. And you have to, like, I don't even know what to expect from this offense, but you have Miles Sanders, who's actually a pretty good running back. You need to give him the ball at least a minimum 15 times a game. And
see what I heard. Did you see that they're saying that he might split time with Boston Scott, and that also. I'm curious what you think about that, because that made me scratch my head. Like there's an obvious skill difference between the two of them, and
yeah. So Boston Scott
it.
is basically he's a. I mean, I don't want to say it, but he's the same height as Darren Sproles, but just not as good as Darren Sproles, right?
Yeah.
And our crazy-eyed special teams coordinator, who's no longer with our team, Dave Phipp, would love to put Boston Scott at kick returner and Greg Ward Jr. at punt returner. Greg Ward Jr. averaged 5.9 yards per punt return, and Boston Scott averaged probably, I want to say, like maybe 18 yards, like a touchback, maybe.
And like Boston Scott's good. Like from what I've seen of him, like he's a good player. But why go out there and overpromise that he's gonna split carries? Like Miles Sanders is miles better.
Yeah. And if our offensive line stays healthy, like you have Lane Johnson, who's probably a top 5 right tackle. Brandon Brooks is coming off of shoulder, Achilles. Like, dude needs to just stay healthy. Jason Kelsey's one of the most athletic centers in the league.
It's hurrah, dude. This is last year, so I think
for sure. I think this.
You're gonna get your feet in the ball.
I think. I was shocked that he actually came back this year. I thought he was gonna leave when Wentz was traded and everything like that. And also, I think it's gonna be interesting to see what the run pass ratio is, because Doug loved to pass the ball and he barely once the fans and the media got to Doug saying, "Hey Doug, run the effing ball," like then he started to run the ball. Like he was blind of like running the ball. Like he wanted to be like Andy Reid and pass the ball. But But I think if they have that balanced attack of the run pass, like, and then Jalen Hurts can make plays with his legs. Like you draft Devontae Smith, that he's from what I've read at the training camp, he's a true number 1. He's dealing with a MCL sprain, but then you have Jalen Reagor, Kez Watkins, Greg Ward Jr., like some younger guys, but like somebody needs to step up to be that number 2 receiver. And then you have Dallas Goedert, who could be in for a big year, and Zach Ertz, which I'm shocked that Zach Ertz is still on the team, to be quite honest. I think
Yeah, I really thought.
I thought he was going to get traded.
Yeah, all I heard was Buffalo. Like he was just going to get traded to Buffalo. That was. Sorry, I was tweeting the link out again because I guess I tweeted out. Side note, how smart I am. I tweeted out a link that was no longer valid, and that is why it did not say we were live. So we are all good now.
Nice.
But back to what you were saying.
But so Jalen Hurts has, I'm knocking on wood right now. Offensive line stays healthy. Biggest thing, because he's got a rushing attack. We drafted Kenny Gainwell from Memphis. Dude's a great pass catching running back, so he could be the number 2. We have Jordan Howard. We have Boston Scott. I don't think we're going to keep 4 running backs, or at least dress 4. Then you have you got Devontae Smith, who's he's an SEC receiver. Like he's
crazy, bro. I cannot believe I was hoping they pulled the trigger when they were up, and I wish the Ravens were going to trade up for him. I thought maybe I kind of felt it in my stomach a little bit that they were going to use the 2 picks to move up and get him. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm kicking and screaming about it because we still got Rashad Bateman, which we'll get into. Just dealing with his own injury, but I'm very happy with him. And from what I've seen in camp, he's this receiver class looks like it has potential to just be absolutely wild. It could produce 3, 4 top. I don't even know much about the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys.
But the kid from Florida, Tony, Kadarius Tony.
Fuck him. Nothing personal. Sorry, that was rash. But,
So when because it was we were 12, the Cowboys were 10, and I think the Giants were 11. So we traded up with the Cowboys, which was shocking to say the least. But the Cowboys got a player with Micah Parsons. I think he's a stud.
Man,
but
even in the Hall of Fame game, sorry not to interrupt, but he was moving.
Dude,
he is.
It's insane.
So
when we were growing up, you had guys like Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, not the quickest guys, but they were 6'3", 225 at least, right? And now these linebackers are 6 foot 6'1", and 210, 215, but they're running 4.37s. Micah Parsons is 6'4", 260, and runs a 4.37.
He runs like a safety, and it's I don't know why he dropped so far.
I think there was some off-field issues or some. He was part of the hazing incident at Penn State. Shocker there.
Oh, grow up there. Who cares?
Right.
It's fucking thing. He didn't kill somebody.
So, and then from a defensive perspective for the Eagles, so the offense, I literally have no idea. I mean, we might have the youngest coaching staff or the most inexperienced coaching staff in the league, to be quite honest.
Just the coaching staff filled with hot dads, dude. That's basically what they are.
Apparently. And
I really think he's going to do well. It's just everybody judges, and you go up and you see this guy who's bumbling at the press conference stand. Listen, motherfucker, I stutter, and don't judge me.
Same, dude.
So I just feel like it was people just wanted to say he's a bad coach. First of all, they don't know who he is, and second of all, he got probably nervous. First head coaching job. Do you think back in 2008 when we hired the Eagles special teams coach John Harbaugh that I had any idea who that was?
Right.
No, I had no idea. I was pissed off that Brian Billick's last season was horrible, and I'm sure at the time I wanted to get Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett was in the running, and there's a world where he is making us go 8-8 every year, and somehow Jerry Jones is our owner. You just never know. You never know who's going to be the guy.
I also think so. For some, and I think it was Pat McAfee who mentioned it, but special teams coaches are the best. I guess you call them motivators, or they can get players to buy in because
they're player guys because they have wide receivers, they have linebackers, they have sometimes defensive linemen playing special teams for them. So it's it's bring it all together. So I mean, John Harbaugh, great hire. Looking back on it now, but 10 out of 10. Great dude.
But
I think Sirianni's gonna. I think he's I think he's going to be a good coach. I mean, you say what you want about Doug, it was the same thing. He got you guys a Super Bowl, and like you weren't. Not many people were happy about getting Doug Peterson. So I mean, I just feel like Eagles fans from
he was ranked the worst hire. Like
non-biasly, like Eagles fans, like take a chill pill,
relax,
see how your new quarterback and your new coach go. You have no idea what's going to happen, and it could be crazy.
And worst case scenario, we go 3-14, we get a high draft pick, and we have 2 other draft picks. We have 3 first rounders potentially if Carson Wentz plays.
I don't think you can really count on that. I think if he's hurt now, I feel like they're going to milk it, and if Jacob Eason or Sam Ellinger comes out of nowhere,
Nick Foles,
might as well hold on to that pick by not letting him play and letting him get healthy if you're going to pay him that money.
Okay, so say Carson Wentz is out for 10, 12 games, they probably don't win. They'll probably win, maybe go 4-13, right? So
but you never know, bro. That defense is good.
That defense.
All you need is you just need one of the two to not make mistakes and make the throws on third and short when they have to and feed the rock. They have 2 great running backs. Marlon Mack is so forgotten about because of Jonathan Taylor. Like Marlon Mack is a beast, and now you have Jonathan Taylor. Also a beast.
Yeah.
You don't think they can do what the Browns did, and obviously Baker Mayfield is not Jacob Eason, but like do enough on the run game with two good running backs to where they can do enough, still keep their pick, and keep their new shiny quarterback from hurting himself even more.
Right. So I think this whole, when I first saw this, I laughed out loud because we're not running Jim Schwartz's BS leave your corner on an island scheme anymore, and hopefully, I mean, we'll see what the defense brings, but I mean, you still have Brandon Graham, you have Fletcher Cox, you got some younger guys on the defensive line. Alex Singleton, who's like an unknown linebacker last year, he showed that he could actually play. And you got Darius Slay, Steve Nelson's a big signing to lock up that number 2 position. And then you got a rookie McPherson and Avonte Maddox as the backup corner. So we'll see. I think Avonte Maddox is going to be playing more slot. And then the safeties, you got Anthony Harris and Rodney McLeod. So the secondary on paper looks all right.
That being said, C.J. Henderson apparently is available from the Jaguars. I mean, if you're the Eagles, go get him.
Yeah.
He wasn't great, but he's a cheap rookie. You probably have to give up maybe a 3rd or a 4th round pick. If they're willing to trade him, they're probably not going to ask for a lot. No one's going to give him a lot for him. So, I mean, like, if I'm the Eagles, go out and get him.
Listen, maybe we can trade Andre Dillard, who's been injury prone. He was our
got a better chance of trading with a bag of Doritos than trading Andre Dillard, honestly.
Dude, and
both of them have played the same amount of NFL games.
Yeah, and then Jordan Mailata's pretty much secured the left tackle spot, which dude's a monster. He's playing rugby at 6'8", 340 pounds, and now he's a
what a great pick, dude. How he gets
so like
he nailed that.
And then I mean we'll see how the Eagles end up doing, but like I'm hoping Jalen Reagor can get his shit together. He was injured last year, and people were everybody wants the instant gratification, but give him a shot. He's not JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but
see, that's my thing just in general. Like I was saying earlier, like people don't have patience. We've all been spoiled. We've all been spoiled by these players who just come onto the scene. We forget that sometimes it takes time to develop.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Eagles have something great with Jordan Mailata. Why are you going to sit there and force Andre Dillard into the lineup? Like, I feel like at this point, he's proved that, he deserves that spot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's one of two things you can do. You can just deal with it and not, pick up his 5th-year option, or you can try to get at least something for him.
Right.
I mean, it's not bad to have depth, but I don't know. I know it's a bad look that, your first-round lineman is on the bench, but I mean, your 7th round pick lineman is way better than anybody expected. So it kind of just cancels itself out and just do what's successful.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to Eagles offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland, who there was rumors he was going to go back to Bama to coach with Saban, but his development has been, with his players it's been spot on. So, but and going back to this whole projections, like the Cowboys are really going to win 10 games. They don't even know if Dak Prescott's healthy. Like his shoulder.
I don't know.
Like
I don't get that, man.
I mean, if I were to bet,
if he plays, sorry, go ahead.
No, if I were to bet on who's going to win the NFC East, I mean, if I'm biased, I'm going to say the Eagles, but we have no idea what they're going to bring. Like the Giants, their defense is solid, but I don't think Daniel Jones is going to do it, and I think Washington's the most complete team.
See, and that's where what I was going to say is non-biased, I think Washington's going to win it. Their defense is young. They're fast.
The front seven's insane.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, dude, he is aging backwards. He has been way better than he was early on, honestly. Like, through his years in Buffalo and St. Louis, like, he's gotten better with age, and they have some good receiving help. You got Scary Terry. You signed Curtis Samuel. The only thing that worries me about them is the whole, back to, I don't want to talk about it, but like COVID drama that they're having with, their vaccination rates and Ron Rivera's frustrations with that.
Yeah.
But I just think that they're the most well-equipped to, win that. They did it with Taylor Heineke in the playoffs, almost took down Tom Brady.
Heineke is a stud.
Kidding me, dude? Put him in. I can't wait to see an article next year that Lamar Jackson's the poor Taylor Heineke, like they did with Taysom Hill. Like, it's hilarious, dude. Like, I'm a Heineke guy. I think he's good. I just think they're going to be a really good team.
So right now I'm looking at the NFC East division winner. Cowboys plus 130. They're not going to do it. The Giants are plus 390. Eagles plus 470. Even the Washington, I almost said their old name.
Yeah, you said the R word. Don't say the R word.
Washington football team plus 260. So still it's pretty good odds there. Might be worth a sprinkle.
Going from a betting standpoint, with betting for anybody that doesn't really bet, you don't really want to do the pick that you think is going to happen. You want to do the one that is going to win you the most money and has the best chance of happening.
Best chance, right.
I feel like the Eagles have those odds. I feel like the Eagles most definitely could win the division. Because it's how many years in a row has it been a different, division winner? It's been, I know it's been at least 5. It hasn't been the same consecutive winner. So I just feel like that's a good bet to throw on the Eagles. Just looking at this, I don't know if the Patriots are actually going to go 9-8. I think Cam Newton's going to start 2 or 3 games, and I think that they're going to put in Mac Jones. Not saying he's going to be good or bad, but that's a tough situation to go into. Broncos 8-9. I feel like they're not going to be that great. They added a corner. Steelers 7-10. I'm biased, but I don't see them winning less than 9 games.
Mike Tomlin's never had a under 500 season.
And say what you want, man. Najee Harris is a beast, and the only question is their offensive line, so it could go one of 2 ways.
So just running through it real quick, AFC East, I think the Bills are the most complete team there, but I don't see.
Oh, let's go division by division. Let's just.
All right. Let's go with the AFC East. I think it's. I'll go Bills, and I'll go Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. I don't think Tua. Me personally, I don't think Tua is that good, but I could be completely wrong with that.
That's the thing. A lot of these teams, it's all relying on the quarterback play.
Yep.
So
AFC South. Who do you got?
Yeah. That's tough because obviously Julio Jones to the Titans is big.
Huge.
My only concern is if I was a Titans fan,
defense.
They got Julio now. You can't abandon Derrick Henry because you have more options. If they try to force the ball to their receivers, I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill isn't as good as he's been, but his weaknesses, like we were saying with Lamar Jackson and not throwing a lot. The more you throw, the more mistakes that can happen. So if they try to throw the ball too much, I could see them just kind of spiraling. I really like the Colts. I think their defense is, I would say, probably top 2 or 3.
Yeah,
And
and
if they can just
Leonard
hold
just
their-
got paid too.
Yeah, Leonard got paid. DeForest Buckner for a first-round pick. That was
Huge.
really good by Jim Irsay. Like
Yeah.
that was the main reason for it. And just overall, their defense is young and they're really good.
And
like
they have
I said, rely on the run game.
and Jonathan Taylor is a workhorse. I mean, really, that division. I mean, we'll see how the Jags are with Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow and Trevor Lawrence and everybody. But I think Texans winning, I don't know, one game. I mean, I don't know who their quarterback is.
Deshaun Watson, dude. Betting wise, I'm not touching them. I'm
betting against them the majority of the time. I think.
I mean, if Deshaun Watson plays, like
Then
you
it's
could,
different.
if you wanted to throw a 20 spot on, them winning however many over what I don't know what the number is, but like if you want to throw money on that just in case Deshaun Watson actually plays, I get that, but
Yeah.
I have no confidence in that at all.
Let's see.
And AFC West it's tough. It could be a mess. They could all they could all split their series in the division play for all we know because they're all decent to really good teams. Like the Raiders last year they were in Casey's head. So you never know when that's going to happen. Apparently, the Raiders are the only team that can beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But Broncos. What if?
Who's their quarterback?
Drew Lock actually.
Drew Lock
I'm
or
gonna say
Teddy?
Drew Lock.
Right.
I think Drew Lock just because he has the upper hand with being there longer, and I feel like Teddy Bridgewater was a kind of a what if we have a Ryan Tannehill? If things start going bad, what if we throw him in there?
Yeah.
Chargers obviously Justin Herbert. It relies on how he responds to his rookie year.
Right.
Does he get the sophomore slump? I feel like a lot of people don't realize that happens to a lot of quarterbacks, no matter how good they are.
Yep.
Even just the past quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson didn't have a sophomore slump, but he did have that crazy year and dropped off a little bit. You're not going to be an MVP every year.
Right.
So you don't know with him. So 11 wins for them is kind of iffy. But KC ultimately is going to take that division.
Yeah, I think so. I think KC takes that division. Chargers might see themselves in a wild card spot. I think we'll see.
I could honestly, if it comes down to it, I could see that as a division where 3 teams make it out. I could see the Ravens division, 3 teams making it out.
Yep.
Even if the Patriots for some reason are an 11-win team, I could see 3 teams coming out of that division. So the AFC is pretty stacked.
I think
it's gonna be interesting.
I think just going off of that, I think the AFC North, you might see 3 again win or make the playoffs, and then the honestly, I think the NFC West from the NFC perspective. I mean the Rams. They're pretty loaded on defense and and I can't say this enough. People underestimate Matthew Stafford so much because he played in Detroit. He'll show people why he's probably a top 5 quarterback, I think.
Yeah, I mean he has had. I honestly will say he's had a Hall of Fame career. Despite being in an NFL team that really doesn't love their players. Just look at their history. Barry Sanders retired because he was pissed. Calvin Johnson retired because he was pissed. At least I'm glad they did him justice and traded him and got him to a team that he's going to do well with. And him and the Rams, Cooper Kupp, for any fantasy people out there, draft that man. He's going to go absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson from last year, they're really high on him.
Yep.
Oh, fuck, my AirPods are about to die.
That's all right. You good?
Yeah, you can still hear me.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Packers, I think, take the North. The Bucks probably take the NFC South. I don't see the Falcons being good with the new coach.
Sorry not to cut you off, but I want to circle back to the Panthers because I really think that they could challenge in that division.
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta dig in on that.
So, all right.
I don't know if Sam Darnold's that guy.
But we don't know that he's not that guy. He was on the Jets in that situation.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? People were enamored with his arm, and
he's also
people still
sneaky
saw
athletic, by the way.
right. And he was picked 3rd overall for a reason. I can't say the same about Josh Rosen because, I mean, he kind of seems like a flop. But Sam Darnold has had games where he shows promise. Adam Gase is garbage, dude.
He's a player killer.
Terrible coach.
He's a player
the modern day Jeff Fisher. Like, no players do well.
No disrespect on Jeff Fisher. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Jeff Fisher's all.
He made him and Jason Garrett 8-8 Kings. But, yeah, man, I think Sam Darnold on that team throwing to DJ Moore, you get a healthy Christian McCaffrey. We didn't see a year of him. That man got 2,000 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
He is a weapon at any part of the field. And they have Robbie Anderson, who I don't know why is not talked about, but he is probably top 8 deep threats in the league.
Yeah.
He's so much better than people give him credit for. When he was a free agent, I was hoping the Ravens.
I was praying the Eagles signed him, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but
so he's really good, and I think that offense could explode. And they got some pieces on defense.
Oh, dude, they got Jeremy Chin.
Jeremy Chin, dude. He's a beast.
Eagles should have drafted him, but no, we took Jalen Hurts, and everything hurts, But
they just drafted J.C. Horn too, so now
Yeah, so half their secondary is solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Saints. How do you feel about the Saints and Jameis being the quarterback?
Girl,
I think
I'm a big Jameis guy. We don't know what Jameis Winston looks like after he got eye
surgery, right?
This man can see. This man could not see and led the league in touchdown passes.
Yeah, he had what, 33 and 30, right?
Yeah, it's not great, but also 33 touchdowns is still 33 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
He's given the opportunity. I feel like what's going to happen is they're not going to know who to play, and they're going to start with Jameis or they're going to start with Taysom Hill, and they're going to have short leashes because Sean Payton, for whatever reason, wants Taysom Hill to be every part of the game.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even rule out him being starting quarterback week 1. We're assuming that Jameis Winston's going to be the starter, but look at what he did to Alvin Kamara. He wouldn't let him get 8 touchdowns. He gave it to Taysom Hill, on Christmas. He loves that man. So I'm not even ruling that out. I think, that's another possible Ryan Tannehill-esque situation where maybe he'll come out of nowhere and do some crazy things.
Yeah. All right. So last thing that we have for the first episode, we'll talk about the MVP odds, and you want to give, say, besides the top 3 guys like Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, who are your 3 players that you think are worth a sprinkle or throw some money on them to win? Oh. And we lost Calvin for a second. That's all right. I'll just talk for now, but oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My headphones died, so I'm gonna have to do this last part.
No worries. But
so what was I saying? Jalen Hurts for the long shot, possible cash in on a good amount of money.
Plus 7,500. Yeah.
Yeah. I for a non-quarterback, Christian McCaffrey, yes, I like that. Aaron Donald, it's never not worth putting money on it.
I think it's. I mean, so I put out a poll on our Twitter page, 2 Birds 1 Pod. Last time a non-quarterback won MVP was AP back in 2012, where he rushed for close to 2,000 yards or over 2,000 yards, and then LT in 2006. So
and my frame of mind with this is he's won so many Defensive Player of the Year awards in a row. Eventually, he's gonna get an MVP because that's just not enough.
Yeah, and so it's kind of wild just watching Aaron Donald play. He goes up against double teams, triple teams, and still is putting up crazy numbers for sacks. And if he comes, so I'll say this: I do like Matt Stafford as not one of the top 3 guys. If the Rams have a good year that everyone thinks, Matt Stafford's going to be in the conversation. But if Aaron Donald comes close to Strahan's sack record and is just being an absolute beast like he normally is, it's definitely worth a little, say $5, maybe a $10 bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it might. Well,
I
another
mean,
one I like before you get into yours.
Yeah.
I like the 201. You know, he didn't show a lot, but he's another guy that you never know. He could come out of nowhere with it. Trey Lance, like if he's
playing,
week one starter, you know, it's worth a shot for plus 1,300 or 13,000.
Yeah. So
dog.
I'll give you. So I'll give you like. I mean, besides Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, I mean, you can.
We're talking winning money. If you want to capitalize,
Right.
You got maybe $50 in your FanDuel account. Who are you throwing this money on to make the most?
So, and Carson Wentz is such a strong.
I hope.
All I'm saying is, fully recovered. Like he's in the perfect offense. Hand the ball off. Frank Reich knows him.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts, like you said, it would be a good possibility. We don't know what Jameis Winston is. You know, if the Saints come out and he's on fire with his new eyes, plus 6,000, that's not bad. One that I'll give you, Fitzmagic, plus 12,000.
Fitzmagic, baby.
Dude,
I think
if the football team has that year, you know, defense is playing well and Fitzmagic is winning games, like he has to be in the conversation. But plus 12,000, like, why not? Throw someone on Aaron Donald, Fitzmagic. You know, I mentioned Winston and Hurts, but like, what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins? Kirk had a good year last year, but
he has a good
tough.
year in the way that Sam Bradford had a good year with the Vikings. You complete a bunch of percentage of your passes, but like, can you remember any Kirk Cousins throw that was like, whoa, Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback? No.
Not really, no.
No,
but
a lot of it was short passes to Justin Jefferson, breaking it. You know, he can hit a deep ball, but I don't remember anything about him that made me say, like, oh, he's elite.
Oh yeah, he's an absolute.
And if he's gonna win MVP, it's gonna be on the back of Dalvin Cook getting 8-man boxes every play and him making short passes. That's the only way that happens.
Yeah, and I will give you one bet that I do like. Kirk Cousins over under on his touchdowns, 27.5. He had 35 last year, and they get an extra game this year. Hammer that over. But
yeah, I agree.
I mean, what are your I do think if the Titans, so it'll be tough with the Titans. Ryan Tannehill, if he is balling out with Julio and
back to what I was
with
saying,
AJ Brown, but like also like that success is predicated on Derrick Henry running as well. So it'll be two votes.
As much as you can make the argument for Ryan Tannehill, you have to make the argument for Derrick Henry too. Like
right.
It could be either of them.
I mean, I do like, I do like Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry as my top two, and you know Aaron Donald as a close third for, you know, the three non-quarterbacks.
And like
McCaffrey, he needs to stay healthy. That's my biggest thing. So
he does. The thing I'll say about Derrick Henry is, no matter how big you are, those carries start to catch up to you. And I did the math one time when I was bullshitting with someone on Twitter, probably yelling back and forth at a Titans fan.
Yeah.
But I looked up how many carries he's had since high school, and it's something obnoxious, like 1,500 carries or 1,200 carries since he's played higher level football. And like obviously high school's not as bad as college and NFL, but
right.
What other NFL running back is getting, what was it, 400 carries last year? Like it was crazy.
So one that I'll say, I mean, comes to mind right away, DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Where he had that great year with the Cowboys, Eagles signed him, and it was terrible.
And he had not great years with the Raiders, but he was featured in that offense, for a number of years.
Yeah.
And with running backs, I just feel like you never know when those hits are going to start breaking you down. And
Yeah.
hopefully Derrick Henry's just a freak. He is a freak.
He's a monster, and like
I just fear it from, maybe it's a fantasy football mindset, or maybe it's just skeptic. But I fear that he slows down at some point because he's just taken such a toll on his body.
Yeah, definitely. So, no, but yeah, there's definitely some players that are flying under the radar on the MVP odds. Last thing we'll cover before we wrap up here. Preseason football kicks off tomorrow. Do you have any bets for the people?
This is where I would like to segue into our newest segment. It's called "I Don't Bet on hold on, let me. All right, ready and action.
Action.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna segue into our new segment that I like to call "I Don't Bet on Preseason Football, but let's bet on preseason football." So
Let's do it.
in an offline conversation between us, I said to you, it's all about the quarterback depth and the D-line depth when it comes to preseason, because if you can get to the quarterback, you're going to win the game. If you can be successful on offense, you're going to win the game.
Yep.
So I haven't really looked at the odds, but I say let's do our respective teams, and let's talk right here a little bit.
Yeah, so we got so I have it pulled up on my phone. Saints at Ravens. Ravens minus 2.5. Over under 36. Ravens money lines minus 135.
And I will say it's probably because they are 17-0 since 2016. So
17-0 against the Saints.
No, 17-0 in the preseason.
Preseason? Jesus.
Anybody in
Good
preseason,
Lord.
We're steamrolling people. So I don't know why.
So
obviously we are.
You're the
better
greatest
than
preseason team of all time.
You could have just stopped the greatest team of all time, but
Preseason team of all time.
when it counts, obviously. So yeah, I want to stay away from points just because if I am going to bet on preseason, I damn well am not going to rely on there being any X amount of scoring or relying on any offenses. I'm going to stick with money lines, and I'm taking the Ravens money line.
Yeah.
The only thing that I see happening is some of their injuries from camp and stuff that could hold them back a little bit. And like we were talking about, the Saints have a quarterback battle, so they're both going to see time. And like my formula says, good quarterback play, you can win a preseason game. So I don't doubt that you throw Taysom, maybe even both of them in at the same time. Throw both of them in the game.
Yeah. Same thing with the Eagles. I mean, you have Jalen Hurts, who will probably get a couple series in the first quarter, I think, just to get more reps with the new offense. And then you have Joe Flacco as a backup quarterback.
Bold of you to assume that he's going to be the backup, by the way. Don't count him out. He could lead your team to the glory.
Oh, stop. Please don't start, because Philly loves the backup quarterback, the underdog. You know what I'm saying?
Flacco, man. Always pull for that guy.
He had the greatest postseason run of all time. Pretty much.
Without a doubt.
But
yeah,
Eagles money line is minus 120, and the Ravens minus 135. You parlay that 10 to win $22. There you go.
There's the big money bet.
I mean,
right there.
I'll also just look by looking at it. Chiefs at the Niners. Niners defense. Trey Lance is going to get a good amount.
They want to see Trey Lance, so yeah, that's the storyline. I think Niners take that.
Good. Parlay all three. 10 to win 42. Even bigger.
Let's just parlay all of them. Let's go. Run down them real quick.
Good Lord. All right. Washington football team.
Do all of them. All right. All of them that are. All right. Let's do we did our teams, so let's do Thursday slate. Or Friday slate, whatever.
Washington football team at the Patriots Thursday night.
Mac Jones. We want to see what he looks like. I'm thinking Patriots. Is it still Matt Schaub? No, I think it's that Kirk. whatever the hell his name is. I know he plays Fortnite. I just know he's a backup quarterback for the Falcons. They should have kept Kyle Oleta. Shout out to the boy, but they should have kept him around. But yeah, no, I think yeah, maybe if they try to just show off Kyle Pitts, I don't think he'll play that much, so I'm not taking them. Yeah, we'll just take the opposite. Who are they playing? I don't even remember, to be honest. Yeah, we'll take Tennessee. So this one's interesting. This is interesting because you know who it is? Mr. Trubisky. He's their backup. Yeah. So you're going to get a lot of him. Um, and then they have Jake Fromm too. So Jake Fromm is probably going to get some time. You're going to see what he looks like. Um, uh, yeah, I feel like just you got to go Bills in that point. We saw what the Cowboys looked like without Dak. I don't even know who is Arizona's backup. Ben DiNucci, dude. So he actually didn't look terrible, dude. So I might be leaning Cowboys as much as it might hurt you. I feel like I'm leaning Cowboys. Dude, if that hits, hey, yeah. Before we end it, I just I gotta get something off my chest here. So my boy Alex, he makes videos on on Twitter and YouTube. And he made all of his content's dope. He's a Ravens fan, so he does a lot of Ravens stuff. But he does some Towson videos because he went to Towson, and he just overall he makes crazy highlight reels, right? And he made a hype video for the NFL season. Again, super sick video. And Barstool tweeted it out without giving him any credit. Simple via. Hold on, let me pull up his exact tag because he just got suspended, and I'm gonna give the boy a shout out here. But he, yeah, so Barstool basically took his video, you know, say tweeted it with some dummy account that shout out to the Ravens flock, but they found it. They did a lot of digging with the situation, and so his at is simply as10 prod prod for productions. But yeah, so here's the boy. Um, so yeah, Barstool stole his video, and they took credit for it basically, and it started this weird this weird rift with this. I guess they're a Ravens account. I don't know. They say they're a knockoff Barstool account. I'm not even going to mention their ad because I'm not going to give them the airtime. But this dude starts coming at Alex's girl, who is also a very big part of Ravens Twitter, and we all interact together, and she's great. They're both great, but he's very humble, and he works hard on his videos, and she's there to support him, and he gets no credit. And on top of it, this fake ass Barstool trying to be motherfuckers start coming at his girl, and just for him wanting some credit, and it's real scummy. Um, Barstool is what it is, but to sit there and say that you're a parody account is, I don't even know why you want to. It's disgraceful. It's and all because you're defending this multi-million-dollar company, like they're gonna thank you. Like you're just doing this to be an asshole, and just get the man his credit. Don't be rude to his significant other, and it just really bothered me, um, because nothing's gonna happen. He ended up getting his Twitter account suspended. I don't know why. I guess because of the whole situation. I didn't really dig into it, but he has to start from scratch on Twitter after having a huge following, and all because and then this guy's just sitting here, giving his girl a hard time, making it seem like, oh, it's they can take the video, and siding with the guys who really, they don't need support. If they're gonna steal videos, they're gonna steal videos. like get your fellow Ravens fan his clout, like get him his recognition that he deserves. And it just really bothered me. That's it. That's all we're asking for. Like, and it's just real scummy. And the dudes that were defending Barstool, trying to be a knockoff Barstool brand, like, I don't know. I don't know what the motive is. I don't know if they think that they're going to get picked up by Barstool or that it's even remotely funny, but it's not. Like, you're not going to be them. Just support your fellow Ravens fans. They're sitting there saying like, oh, you can't take a joke and this and that. When bottom line, my man's hard work is, he's not getting credit for it, and people can't even find who the original, maker is. And I'll leave it at that. Those people are scummy. A lot of there's a couple of really big fans in Ravens Twitter that worked with them, and they stepped down because of it. They stepped down from the blog that they just recently joined because it was just so scummy. So all the respect in the world to Alex and his work. Shout out to the boys. But yeah, I'm not gonna even give them airtime. It's just don't be scummy. Just people work hard, give them their credit, and don't be a piece of shit. It's not that hard. Yeah. I'm gonna end it on that.